Hi guys, you're listening to the Sold Out podcast. Today I'm here, very excited to be joined by the pop innovator Dagny. And as a front runner for Nordic music internationally, Dagny has enjoyed a meteoric rise to prominence since 2015, following her single Backbeat. Sorry. And since then, Dagny has been featured on the Billboard's 10 Pop Stars to Watch and VEVO's Ones to Watch in 2017. With writing credits for Katy Perry and working with world-renowned producers such as Steve Aoki. Very excited to chat to you about the new single, It's Only a Heartbreak, and obviously the forthcoming side B of the album. As you mentioned already there, the Corona year, how has it been so far? Has it fueled creativity or kind of the opposite?
Good question. Well, I mean, I think it was like, in some ways it was good that the summer was a bit more like quiet than it normally is, because we got to work more on the album and I got to do some more writing and stuff. But I don't know, like I think I definitely prefer a non-corona year, especially because I mean, for many reasons, but I feel like when you make music and you spend so much time in the studio, like creating music and stuff, like for me, the kind of big reward is being able to go out and tour the music after and like meet the listeners and the fans and yeah, I just think I prefer summer when I'm doing festivals, and it kind of feels like if we're going to do this whole album campaign and not be able to go out and tour, it would just be such a shame, because I've kind of imagined, doing all these songs
Exactly.
live. So yeah, I'm fingers crossed that it's coming to an end in not too long, for sure.
I know. I really hope so. I just wanted to ask, because you've been to Ireland supporting Picture This in the Three Arena. Do you remember anything of Ireland when you were here?
Oh, lots. I love Ireland. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, huh? Yeah, I was there in November doing some writing with them, and they've been in Norway a few times since we did the shows with them. So we really kind of like bonded also on like as friends. And so we've been doing, actually one of the songs on the album is written with Jimmy and Ryan.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I mean, I remember I think it's a beautiful city. I really like, we've done some vintage shopping there, which I love. And
fantastic.
a lot of deer there, which I also love. So yeah, I feels like one of those cities that I like kind of keep coming back to. And whenever we do touring and stuff, it's always very high up on the list because it's really good, like live scene. And I feel like the Irish crowd is really like interested in music.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just kind of connecting to the songs and the lyrics. And we've done we've done like a few festivals I think there as well.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I was actually going to ask, do you remember your last gig? Where did you play last before all the lockdowns and everything like that?
I do actually remember, because this was kind of lucky, and also because normally, like when spring comes around, we always do like a winter tour, like a spring tour.
Yeah.
And this year was the first year that we didn't do it, because we've done it like every year for the last 4 years. And this year we decided to do like a live break from, I think it was October until, well, it was meant to be until mid-May. So the last show was actually like a very kind of small show, like in Oslo, because we played a few quite big shows, but we were doing a show for like the people under 18. At the first venue that I played, like sold out my first headline show.
Wow, that's awesome.
There was kind of a nice little thing that we were meant to do for the people under 18, and I think there was probably like 10 people under 18 there, and adults. So it like didn't turn out the way that we were like it was meant to, but it was a really nice show. So yeah, that was the last like proper headline show.
That sounds like a nice, like if you could pick one, it was a nice one to end on almost.
Yeah, but like that was in October. I don't think I've ever gone this far without like this long without doing like a proper show.
Yeah, no, it's not fun. Actually, one of the questions I was going to ask as well was, do you remember your first time on stage? Because when I interview artists like yourself, I'm always like, I could never, perform to that level of crowd and all. Did you always have the charisma to go out on stage, or do you remember kind of getting used to performing and everything like that?
I think there's been like many stages of that, because I think my first time on a stage was probably when I was like just a kid.
Yeah.
But obviously very different from what it is now. And then for a long time I was performing just with like an acoustic guitar, and then for a while I was performing with full band, but like way more kind of organic and acoustic and like singer-songwriter than it is
Yeah.
now. And then obviously I started going more into like the kind of super pop, like synth based kind of music that I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And so there's just been like many stages of it, and I think I've been like constantly learning. Like for me, I think, you know, hva er mengdetrening på engelsk? I think as like an artist, I think it's like a bit underrated, like this whole thing of like just playing lots and lots and lots of shows. Like sometimes like artists that are really new and maybe they have like a buzz even before they've really gotten started, people expect them to come up on a stage and just be like, bam, you know, here I am, I'm a rock star and just I'm awesome on stage. But I feel like, you know, actually that's a craft, that's like an art in itself, just being a performing artist. So I feel like I was really lucky in a way, because I got to play so many shows and do so many tours, and in all kind of different capacities, like very small ones, very big ones, like long before I even started releasing music. So by the time I, you know, released Backbeat in 2015, we'd already been touring a lot. So, you know, but without anyone really kind of, you know, paying attention to that. So yeah, I think I was like pretty lucky.
That's awesome. You got the experience in.
Yeah, and just do my own thing and grow in my own pace, like without anyone like expecting me to be awesome on my first show. Which I probably wasn't, definitely not.
And actually I was gonna ask, so obviously Backbeat was kind of like just the you know, this point where everything just took off from there. Do you sort of remember, like with the debut EP, just everything that was happening around that time? Did you expect it to take off so soon? Like how did it all kind of play out?
Yeah, because that was really weird, because I remember when we released Backbeat, it all really did happen like super fast, and everyone was like saying how it was like an overnight success. But I mean, to us it didn't feel like that at all, because you know, I was 25 at the time, and which is like kind of late, I guess, in pop music to kind of be you know, releasing something for the first time. But I've already been, you know, doing music for like 10 years. Since I was 15, that's when I picked up the guitar, and I was quite quick to like, you know, I probably knew like 4 chords on the guitar, but I was like playing everywhere. Like if someone was like, yeah, you want to come to our cafe and do like an acoustic set, I was like, yeah, definitely. So it felt like it was like a long time coming, and we've been working for a long time by the time, you know, Backbeat hit. But it really was like things kind of changed overnight. Like, you know, we released Backbeat without really having a plan or anything, but suddenly, you know, within the week we were like being flown out to LA and to New York, and all the labels were like calling and emailing, and all the blogs, and Spotify was like putting us on all the New Music Friday and stuff. And I mean, we were just kind of a group of like friends just being in a studio and just kind of making music and jamming out. So it really changed a lot. And I mean, since then really it's just been like a journey, and it's never really kind of stopped since.
For sure. And what I was going to ask as well, obviously, is just before we're kind of jumping into the album and everything, just because a lot of people, because I'd actually heard the Drink About single before kind of coming across before I realized it was you, just through Spotify recommending songs and everything like that.
Yeah.
How did the collaboration with SEEB come about, and that whole song? Because obviously your songwriting is kind of like what stands out a lot. And is it kind of difficult collaborating, or how did you find that experience?
I mean, on that particular song, it definitely wasn't. It was a really good experience. I've been very, which probably to all the labels, big, you know, frustration. I've been very like, you know, I've not been like jumping on all the kind of opportunities to do collaborations, and you know, we get sent songs like regularly, and you know, I've had some, I guess, some opportunity to do some like kind of big, like, you know, doing songs that have, you know, with big DJs. Sure. But it just, for me, hasn't really been, you know, my focus. And it feels like, unless I hear a song and I like truly kind of connect with it. And is that annoying, by the way, that
No,
we're like
not at all.
talking in the
Not at all.
background? Because
No,
I
it's
can.
totally fine. No, it's totally cool. I couldn't hear anything there, so
Oh,
yeah,
just
yeah.
let me know
So,
if the, like, because I'm totally fine with moving.
no, you're
I had.
100%.
My, this is Andreas, and he's like
Hey guys.
super aggressive on the key. On the key. He's like,
I know.
but yeah, and we make fun of each other a lot, so he can handle it. Yeah, no, unless I like hear a song and I like genuinely feel like I connect with it, and I really feel like I can add something to it. I've never really like done a song just because I'm like hoping that maybe, you know, this will be a breakthrough and it will give me lots of attention. Like, that's not how it works for me. So with SEEB, it was like, funnily enough, like I heard the song and I didn't really think much, you know, of it. But then my sister, because this was around Christmas, she just like kept singing the song, and I was like, what is that song? And she's like, I think it's that SEEB track. And I mean, I'm like, and then like a few days went by and she was like singing it again. And I was like, what is that song? And she's like, yeah, it's that SEEB song. And so I was like, oh yeah, there's really something to that. And maybe I should like just go and do a vocal and we'll kind of see how it goes. And then we just like, I met the guys and we just had the most amazing time together, and doing the vocals were like so fun. And I really felt like it was almost like equally much my song, even though I didn't write it. And then, you know, I didn't know what was going to come of it or like how big it was going to get. And so it was like a start of a really nice friendship as well. And so it was like just a really good experience. But it also has like kind of set the standard for me, because like if I hear a song and someone was like, you want to feature this? And if I don't like it, like as much as kind of drink about, then I just don't see the point.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that makes sense. And just to go back a little bit, even actually, because so I was reading, you kind of started, I suppose, kind of focusing on your songwriting when you moved to London. Did the traveling a lot have a lot of impact on you as an artist? Like,
12:30.
No, you're all good, because we cover a lot of Irish artists, obviously, in Ireland and stuff, and it's a very small country, so sometimes it feels like you can get sort of it's hard to break out of, you know, your city in Ireland. Did you find traveling helped a little bit with that?
I think definitely, yes. I mean, I feel like a lot of the growing that I did as an artist and as a musician, as a person, happened in London. And, you know, I'm from a small town and it's a very cultural place, but it's also very much like kind of big fish in a small pond. And I think like, I don't ever want to say that like your location is kind of putting limitations on you in any way, but like going to London and seeing how many incredibly good, like, you know, songwriters and musicians there were, and how much they were like, you know, gigging 6 nights a week and just playing and working. It really, like, I think I got this like work mentality, just kind of, it just hit me that like this, it's like a big world out there, basically.
For sure.
But I was exposed to a lot of like really great songwriters and that had a lot of like, that really believed in me, maybe more than I did myself. Like,
you need that though. You need a good.
Yeah. And I think like the first years I just like really tried to like, you know, take in as much as possible and just grow as much as possible, and never really thinking that, you know, a song wasn't good enough for, it was like, it was just kind of training by doing, really. And I think it was really good for me. Like the people I met there were amazing, and the time there was amazing. And I think it's like, I don't think I would have been doing what I'm doing today if it wasn't for the fact that I lived there and went there and met the people I met. So,
for sure. Yeah, that's awesome. I was going to ask a little bit as well, just about sort of the progression from writing the Ultraviolet EP and then for the album. So there's a couple of things I found interesting on the album. With you didn't seem to have like any previous singles at all, which I think is really exciting. It's kind of it's nice and refreshing for the fans when they go and listen. So I think it's a really great decision. But I think it all, just like you were saying there about not rushing anything and just taking the time to grow, it seems like you have this long-term sort of vision, like you're not rushing the whole process. Even with this album, it's all from scratch, you know. But what's different, kind of, you know, did you notice anything different writing that EP and then years later writing the album? Anything different?
Yeah, because I think that's a very good question. Like, first of all, for me, it was a very conscious decision not to put any of the old songs on it, because I felt like, you know, the people that have been following me since Backbeat and before that has been waiting for a long time for this album, and they've been incredibly patient. And it would feel like, you know, it would feel wrong to suddenly, you know, 12 tracks, like 5, 6 of them had already been released. And, you know, that doesn't really inspire me, and I don't think that would be particularly inspiring to them, you know, because those songs are already there and you can listen to them. And yeah, maybe they won't be able to like get a physical with, you know, Love You Like That and Used to You and Backbeat and all of those songs, but I don't think that really is like, I think, you know, I felt like I'd almost like owe my fans and myself to just kind of start from scratch and build a whole new project. I think, funnily enough as well, you know, with the EP that I did with Ultraviolet, it was very like, you know, I'd done Backbeat and I was sent to like LA and I did lots of writing there and stuff, and I didn't really know what it was going to be. Like, Backbeat was very different from all the other songs that I've been writing up until that point. So it was very much like kind of testing things and trying things and being very like also influenced by the people I met and connected with there. And, you know, when it was working, it was really working. And that was kind of also part of building the sound that was at the time. And there was definitely like a lot of pressure on it as well, because I felt like we had to follow up with, you know, Backbeat and stuff. Yeah, and like with these amazing producers, you know, I went from like basically having like only written with like my very close people to suddenly be in the room with these like world-known producers and like, okay, Dagny, come on, like let's write a hit. And they were so great. But I think like it came to a point during those years, like after, where songwriting just became like incredibly like complicated in my head, and I don't even know what I was trying to do. And I think I was searching for like something, but without really knowing what it was. And suddenly I just felt like I kind of just lost a little bit of
Motivation.
Yeah, it was just like a lot of songs, but none of them really kind of spoke to me, or like very few. And those few were the songs that were released, like Love You Like That and Used to, and all these songs. And then there was like a switch, I guess, last year, where I just decided, okay, I'm going to do an album and I'm just going to pick the songs. I'm going to set up my own label. It will be what it will be. Like if it's the beginning of the ending, well, then so be it, because I really want to make an album.
Yeah.
And actually, you know, by kind of coming to that point, it actually just like released a lot of inspiration. And suddenly, you know, the writing was like, that's when we wrote, you know, Come Over and Somebody and Coulda, Woulda, Shoulda and Let Me Cry, and all of those songs kind of happened around that time. So it was like, just by like kind of lowering your shoulders and thinking, you know what, whatever will happen will happen, it was kind of just what I needed to like be inspired again. So
that's fantastic. Yeah,
that's change.
Awesome. And then I was kind of wondering as well, because I Come Over and Somebody as the singles, but I think like my favorite track is probably Let Me Cry. Is there any?
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah, genuinely, I really like it. Do you, when you're writing the track, do you know, is it? It's maybe a little bit of both, but is it conscious that you're writing a single and then an album track, or do you just know afterwards? Obviously, there might be both.
No, I don't think I try and think about that. I think I have a very strong sense of like when we're onto something. And I'm very like picky, which I think everyone should be. And obviously sometimes, you know, you didn't really 100% get to where you wanted with the song, but it still kind of is like, you know, enough there to kind of, you know, it's like perfection is not something that I necessarily strive for. And I think like sometimes you just have to, you know, like finished is better than perfect, basically.
Exactly.
Like, perfection is what I was trying for a while, and that didn't really do much for me at all. So but I think like I have a very strong sense of like, okay, I don't necessarily come into studio being like, this is what we're going to write today and it's going to be like this and blah blah blah. It's just kind of, you vibe out and you get inspired, and then as you're writing, you're starting to like, yeah, okay, this really is like hitting me. And then, you know, after you take once I started to collect all the songs and started to seeing what, you know, what was there, then it became pretty clear, like where did I want to start? Like what song felt like it was kicking off the project and the story of the project, and what song was like a natural song to follow up that story with. And so for me with this album, it's been way more, obviously you have some songs that stick out as singles, but it's been also very much like trying to constantly remember the whole and thinking about the story and the kind of the order of the songs to tell that story and stuff. So it's been a very different process than just releasing singles.
No, that's really interesting. And then, because obviously side A is out now, and then side B is coming at the start of next month. So is there kind of, from what I was reading, sounds like there might be a bit of a, this side B is going to be a little bit more dark, or maybe just the subject matter is a little bit more dark.
Yeah, I think it is like, it's a bit different from I mean, the first half is way more kind of euphoric maybe, and like more upbeat, and just got like a lighter vibe to it, I guess. But like, I guess like the biggest difference is potentially just the like lyrics, like the kind of, you know, the lyrical content, like the lyrics basically. But I do think that like this half is maybe a bit bolder, like it's not as kind of, I feel like I'm taking a bit more risk on this other half,
cool.
which can be good and bad, I guess, because it might, you know, it's interesting, but it also might just be that, you know, maybe the fans don't connect as much. I don't know. Like I only know what I feel, and I can't really, and I hope that my fans feel the same. But that's not in my power to kind of
For sure.
try that, I guess.
Yeah, no, I'm excited all the same. I wanted to ask just quickly as well, just about just your music videos, because you seem to have like a lot of attention on the visuals as well and everything like that, and I really relate to that as a graphic designer. So do you have a particular favorite video or anything like that? Because they're, you know, you don't seem to do them all the time, you know. Maybe you can't pick a favorite, but
no, but I think I can in a way, because I think that now I've done enough videos to know what kind of I find most fun. Like I definitely think that the videos where there's like I haven't done that many videos, but I definitely think like, you know, Wearing Nothing from the older songs and Come Over has been like particularly fun to do. And also the new one that's coming in like 2 weeks, because it's more, I don't know, but there's like, I'm kind of feeling like those videos where it's just me kind of singing to the camera and, you know, trying to be like, you know, it's just, I don't find that as interesting. Come Over and Wearing Nothing was like, I mean, all of the videos have been fun, but those were like particularly fun because there was like, it was a bit quirkier. It was a bit more, you know, humor almost. It was for me something else to do than just like singing to the camera and kind of posing and trying to be, you know, like whatever. So for me, I get definitely more out of that. And so actually the new video that we're releasing in a few weeks is like almost maybe the most me that we've ever done. Very quirky and fun and stuff. So yeah, but in general, I would say that we put a lot of effort into the visuals. The visuals is something that I'm very interested in, and almost like with the same as with songs, you know, you know when you're onto something. For me, like visuals is something that I'm either like I really like that, and if I mean it's either that or the other stuff is a bit more like I don't really know, like I don't really love that, but I know very much what I like. And you know, this campaign, I really feel like we had such a fun time with the visuals, and also trying to, you know, make the visuals also highlight the kind of contrast between the two halves, and you know, trying to build a story and just a universe really where this album is living. So it was really, really good.
Yeah, no, because genuinely they stand out so much. I did want to ask about them. And just because I want to fit, maybe I'm just conscious of time and keeping it too long. I really appreciate it. Just because I can't really gloss over just the Katy Perry co-writing credit, and just her reaching out for Love You Like That and everything. How what was it like when you first heard that Katy Perry was interested in the track in some way?
Yeah, it was, I mean, it's, to be honest, like, it's one of those stories that you've heard where people are like, I have a friend, like, I have a guy that I worked with a little bit for many years ago, and he had like a Rihanna song, and that song, I think they told him that they were interested in that song probably 3 years before it actually was released. So when they kind of reached out and you know, we were starting to hear that something was going on, I just thought, you know, okay, I'll believe it when I can like download it on my streaming service. And it was like super surreal, obviously, but I just felt like maybe this is just one of those things that I'll get really excited and pumped about, and then it's not going to end up happening. But at the time, I don't really think that I realized just like how serious they were about it, and that it was going to be like a single and stuff. And it was really fun being on that side of things, because, you know, normally when I release a song, it's like, you know, it's with myself, and exactly, I know how the visuals are, and I have seen the video and all these things. And with her, you know, seeing the artwork for the first time and seeing the video for the first time and hearing like the similarities between Love You Like That and Never Really Over, and also hearing the differences and stuff, it was just super exciting.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And it's cool to see like how music kind of travels around like across huge distances. And obviously when I was a teenager, I listened to her music a lot, and I was very inspired. And, you know, if someone told me then that, you know, 10 years from now, you're going to be like credited on an album, I don't think I would have believed it. So, so it was a very, very fun part, and, you know, something really exciting to be part of.
Yeah, sure. And then, you know, not to say that Katy Perry, that this would happen, but, you know, you hear of sometimes like bigger artists, they'll just kind of nearly take from the songs and they don't give the credit. So it's awesome that, you know, that she was happy to, you know, support you, and then more people found the original track as well and everything. So
absolutely. I mean, like, if I'd heard that song, I would have probably thought about it, but like I wouldn't have done anything about it probably, which is like the honest truth, because you know, I'm not necessarily in a position to like take up that fight. So so I'm very happy that they reached out. And I know that, you know, you hear stories of both situations, and I was glad that this was came to
sure.
to us getting to be part of it, or us being part of it, basically.
And okay, so 2 really short questions to wrap up with. Really short. So what's been your favorite place recently you've gotten to travel to, maybe for the first time, or that you've been back to a couple of times?
I mean, obviously this year there hasn't been a lot of traveling, so but and actually sometimes that's been kind of nice as well, to get some time to like actually just stay at home, which like never really happens.
True.
But no, I don't know. I really love traveling, and I've been to many. I mean, Ireland, not just to like kind of toot that their horn, but like honestly, that is a place that I really love coming back to, and that I feel like we want to keep going back to. And it feels like, you know, now we have several reasons to want to go back there. So, and in general, I mean, I'm pretty simple in that way. Like, I just love going home to my hometown, like to see my family, and I'm going there next week, which is really, really nice. So, and I would love to go back to LA. I mean, I spent a lot of time there, and now it's been a while since I've been there. So kind of miss LA a little bit, and you know, would love to go and just spend some time there when the corona situation is over.
That's what, like, the first time we go back to these places is going to be like so different, like
sure.
And then just the last question I had, I just wanted to ask, maybe seeing as you're putting out this kind of culmination of the last like 5 years and everything like that with the album, what advice would you have maybe for yourself starting out, or just any young artist that might be listening to this or just getting started with their career?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think I could definitely spend a good half an hour just talking.
I know.
No, but it's a very good question. I think first of all, I think just do, like, literally spend time writing, because at the end of the day, the most important thing you have is the song. If you don't have the song, you ain't got nothing, really. like, because you can build all the visuals once you have it, and it will become clearer what it is, and you know, you're going to be able to tour more if you have the good songs. So like just writing and learning your craft, and also like trusting what you do, like, but also like be open for, you know, for me, I've tried lots of different kind of music until I landed where I landed. And at one point I had to realize that, you know, clearly the songs I'm writing aren't connecting. So I had to like, just like be kind of brutal with myself at one point. But I also think just like getting out playing and like meeting musicians and meeting people and just like getting comfortable in your crafts, like learning your crafts, properly important. And I mean, obviously, like I'm not that fucking old, but I'm like slightly different generation. Like for me, social media is still something that I have to like, you know, it's not something that I naturally am like super interested in, and I want to spend all my time on TikTok and stuff like that. But I obviously see that it makes a huge difference for a lot of people. So I don't know, you need a little bit, I hate to say this because I don't ever think that things are luck, but if you put all of those things into it, if you work and work and work, because it does take a lot of work, and you write and play and stuff, you also at some point, it can be down to just like the right people who are hearing it. But you're definitely increasing your opportunities if you just fucking keep at it.
Yeah.
Never stop. If I'd stopped when I was 22, I would never done what I do now. And I'm sure a lot of people, you know, they would have reached 25 and thought, oh, I need a plan B.
Yeah.
But I just don't think like, don't stop. Don't give up. Yeah.
No, that's absolutely awesome, Dagny. I really appreciate you coming on. That's
thanks for having me.
Genuinely.